Delighted to be here today at sunny Plumpton for the Star Sports video blogs for the Cheltenham Festival 2013, and I'm very much in esteemed company. I'm joined by three men that need no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. To my left, we've got Claude Duval, the Punters Pall from The Sun, Tom Lee, Channel 4, the betting expert, and Bill Esdaile, the City AM racing editor. So thanks very much for joining me, gents, and let's just crack on. Friday afternoon then, gents, the main event, the Gold Cup, the reason we're all there. Hopefully we've got enough money in our pockets not to have to worry about it by this stage. Cracking little event. Some of the greats from years gone by have gone, but there's some new champions joining the mist. Bobsworth heads the market at 3-1. Horses for Courses, it loves Cheltenham, won there 3-4 times. Difficult to sit and tip up a 3-1 favourite in such a strong field, but I think if you had the proverbial bullet to your head, this is the only one I could go with. Claude?
Yes, I'd agree with you. 5 horses that won the Hennessy and then gone on and won the Gold Cup. And he will, in fact, gallop into the record books, because this would be his 3rd win at the Cheltenham Festival in 3 different races, which has only ever once been done before, and that was by the one and only Flying Bolt, probably before you were born, Luke. But
don't say that, Claude.
Give or take 20 years.
The way he won the Hennessy, I thought it was spectacular.
I thought that was a character from Harry Potter.
No. The way he won the Hennessy, very impressive. Tidal Bay, he went past him, and he was a very, very convincing winner. Tidal Bay then went to Ireland. Sadly, I know he won the Lexus. Sadly, he's injured, so he won't be there. Long run, I'm not too sure he's as sparkling as he was, although it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did a Quarto Star and
his teeth will be shiny on the day, they won't.
Yes, they will be. And regained his crown. The Giant Bolster, I couldn't have him, I'm afraid. Captain Chris, well, I wouldn't have him. Imperial Commander, now he's an interesting horse. I went down there to see Nigel Twiston-Davies the other day, and he's adamant that this horse is back, just as good as he was, when he won the Gold Cup and before breaking a sprint bone. But you have to say the last horse, 12 years old, to win the Gold Cup was what a myth way back in 1969. He's probably asking a lot. Silviano Conti, I'm slightly worried that he's never run over fences at Cheltenham. I know he did run in a hurdle race. I think it's a pretty wide open race, I have to say, so I'm probably being extremely boring by tipping the favourite, but I do think that Bobsworth, and he'll get a particularly good ride, I think, from your friend Mr. Garrity.
What price do you envisage it going off then, Tom? Do you see Bobsworth going off short price favourite for the Gold Cup?
I think the only problem with that is that he hasn't seen the track for 104 days. They've been unable to get a prep race into him, and outstanding though his credentials are, what I suppose will guide us is, how Henderson's string as we go into day 4 of the meeting. So, if he's absolutely gasping for oxygen and he's not had a winner, potentially Bobsworth might not be a 3-1 shot. He might be a 9-2 shot. Equally, if Henderson's had half a dozen winners and they're absolutely on cloud 9.
Please God, hey Claude.
so yeah, we'll see about that. I mean, Luke, something you said interestingly in your introduction there. You've got the new kids on the block, but you've got a couple of old ones, as Claude mentioned. I mean, you've got Long Run, very capable on his day. He is a solid proposition, despite what a lot of the snipers say. And of course, old Imperial Commander, who Twiston, bless him, was talking him up recently at his media day and sort of saying, look, he looks as good as ever, despite the fact he's 12 years of age. So it'd be a great story if he could run into the frame. Of the other principals, well, Silviano Conti, he's very tough, he's solid. He was very, very good when he won the race at Haydock there in November. That was good. He jumped particularly well that day. But the one thing that sticks in my mind, above and beyond any other, and I know you can say he's been beaten twice this year, but he did win last time out, is a horse, Sur des Champs of Willie Mullins. And what I really like, and the thing that really, really is just at the forefront of my thinking about this race, the way he sprinted up the hill when he hit the rising ground in the Jewson last year. He won last time out in the Hennessy. Yeah, all right, he didn't win the Lexus, but I mean, that was, for anyone who saw it, it was just an extraordinary horse race. And if you ran it 100 times again, you might get 25 times 4 different results. So therefore, look, I don't think you can read too much into that. He's in form. He loves Cheltenham, and he loves that hill. So for that reason, I think he might be a hint of value.
Well, thankfully, we have been joined by the head of the Captain Chris fan club, He runs the blog, the website. Volunteered to muck him out in the morning, but they said, go away, you've not got a clue what you're doing. So come on, Bill.
Yeah,
Mr. Captain Chris himself.
Captain Chris, I think, is the forgotten horse in the race. I think he has... Lots of people say this horse can't handle Cheltenham, and he's an ARCA winner, so he can handle Cheltenham. He's jumping straighter this season and better this season. Yes, if the Gold Cup was right-handed, he would be a strong selection. I think he can go left-handed. I think he ran a cracker at Kempton. I think that he would have gone very close to beating Hugh Card last time if he hadn't clouted the last or second last. He's just an each-way play at the prices because he's bound to be there or thereabouts. Whether he's good enough to win, I don't know, but at 20 to 1 each way, he's a fair each-way bet. Looking at the others, Bobsworth, hugely impressive. Like Tom says, it's a worry they haven't got to run into him. Henderson says it's not a worry, but I remember last year, ahead of the RSA chase, he said it was fantastic, we've got to run into him at Ascot because it took the cobwebs away. So that's a worry I have. Sedation, just for me, he hasn't jumped brilliantly this season. I know he's better last time, but I don't like a horse that starts making mistakes in races and gets out of a rhythm. He doesn't seem to be travelling as well over this trip as he was over 2 miles 5 last year. And I think if you get out of a rhythm at Cheltenham, it's incredibly difficult to get back into a rhythm. So I would overlook him. Claude mentioned about Silvinaco Conti. The concern with him is he's always avoided Cheltenham, and he's now suddenly back at Cheltenham for the first time over fences. He's done nothing wrong this season. I think Ruby Walsh would have a pretty good idea when he sits on this horse of where he is in the pecking order, because obviously having sat on Tidal Bay, he'll know that he's probably got the beating of those that ran in the Lexus. But there's a doubt over him. First Lieutenant would be hugely interesting if he run, but I think he'll run the Ryanair. Really difficult. The one other horse I just wanted to mention is Katenko.
Of course.
Yeah, you won't
that
see
soft ground. He'll love that.
If it comes up soft on the day, Katenko is a massive player at around 25 to 1. I haven't seen a horse jump as well as he's jumped this season. When he won at Sandown, when he won at Cheltenham, he is hugely, hugely progressive. It might not be this year that he's a Gold Cup contender. It might be in the future, but he is hugely progressive, and Katenko's interesting. But for me, Captain Chris each way is the bet.
Okay, so selection time. I think it is worth mentioning. I think the tactics on long run will be different this time. I think it will go from the front, or at least try to, and that will give the horse a much better chance. But boring as it may seem, I love horses that have won round Cheltenham, that continue to win round Cheltenham. And for that reason, my selection for the Super 8 competition will be Bobsworth. And I'd like to go on record to say that I don't think Captain Chris will be in the first 5. But Claude?
I'm agreeing with you. I think Bobsworth has got so much going for him. And as you rightly say, horses for courses. He's home and hosed almost.
Agreed.
I also love horses that have won round Cheltenham, so for that reason, a couple of points bigger, you have to be with Sir Deschamps.
Wouldn't put you off, agreed, yeah.
And I also like horses that have won round Cheltenham, and I'm going to go 10 or 12 or 14 points bigger and go with Captain Chris. Okay,
so in conclusion, the market for the big one, for the Gold Cup, Bobsworth heads the market 3 to 1 favourite, Sir Deschamps 4 to 1, the impeccable Silvinaco Conti at 5 to 1, long run, can he return and win it again 6 to 1, First Lieutenant 12s, and bigger the rest.